that high enough? Yeah, happy that's it. You keep your eye on it, right. Talking about cricket, have you any heroes in the cricket world?
Used to be people like Ian Botham,
Beefy Botham.
Imran Khan,
Yeah.
Kapil Dev. Those are the proper players as I call them. And at the moment, I think I'm a little bit out of touch now, so I don't think I've got a favourite now. I don't really watch a lot of cricket.
In 2009, you had a spell at Darlington, and it was classed as as controversial. Why was that?
It was controversial, I think, not the fact of me going in, but it was controversial the way it ended up. And since then, I've tried to explain how that happened, why that happened, and I'd like to think the sensible fans do understand my position. Well, the position was George Horton at the time. He was in the care home business, and I'd done a deal with him on one of the care homes in Norton actually, and he mentioned it to me. Look, I'm taking over Darlington, and a year or so later, do you want to put any money in? And as a fan, I thought, yeah, that'd be great to get involved. And initially, I put in 1.2 million hard cash. Big mistake.
Big mistake.
What I should have done was, it would have been 100 grand a month for 12 months. So that was, I think it was November 2008. And February 2009, he'd put the club into administration without any knowledge.
Wow.
Me having any knowledge. He'd got the money in from players that were clubs. Sorry, that was still owing us money on appearances, that type of thing. Basically got in whatever they could and put it into administration. And I think I found out 3 days before, and I think I remember talking to Jeff Winter on the night, or a couple of days before we had a game there, and Jeff was there, and I think Jeff knew more about it than I did.
Wow.
Jeff mentioned something. I
Wow.
can't remember exactly
Yeah.
the conversation we had, but he knew that there was trouble ahead. So in life, you learn by your mistakes. So that was my first mistake. My second mistake was I should have walked away when he put it into administration and wrote off the 1.2 million. Again, being a football fan, I thought, oh well, if I can take it over and make it work, yes, rose-tinted glasses and all that.
Yeah,
definitely rid of that. I'm a lot older and a lot wiser now. So we ended up taking the club over in August, a day before the season started. And we were just chasing our tails because the players were there. Colin Todd, if you remember, Colin Todd was there.
Colin Todd, he was my coach at Middlesbrough under Bruce Rare. Did you like Toddy? You got on with Toddy?
Top bloke, he was fine. But unfortunately, if you haven't got the tools to do the job, or if you've been out of touch with what's required, and we went down, and it all ended in tears, because as soon as I went in, the banking crisis came in.
Right.
So a lot of people don't
I know
realise that, because all the banks started going pop, and at that time I was with RBS, Royal Bank of Scotland, and 90% of my stuff was with them. They started being really getting heavy, as everybody knows. They were tough times. So I had a call to make. Do I pull the plug there? Was, I think at the time it was about 750 grand a year we were losing. Yeah, a lot of money, or trying to save my businesses that I've worked for 30 odd years, and I think I made the right call. But fans don't understand that. He should have done this, he should have done that, and the rest of it's all, I've said it many times before, Bernie, it's just nonsense. It's just garbage about he trying to kill the club, he done this, he done that. No, it isn't. But yeah, it was a tough learning.
But it wasn't Alderman the FA Trophy at Wembley 2011. You won, didn't you?
Yeah, we won the trophy. We got there just the season before, which was brilliant. Yes, I mean, I think I've said it to on other people who interviewed me since then, I've said, well, look, you know, at least they've lasted another couple of years, because they definitely would have gone out of business
Yeah.
if I hadn't stepped in at that time. And we've got the only trophy I think Downs has ever won at Wembley.
Yeah.
So is that some compensation? Probably not to the die-hard fans, but I did try my best.
You got involved and attracted to Hartlepool 2017. You saved them from administration.
Yeah.
You gained promotion 2021. Quite an achievement.
Not if you ask some of the Hartlepool fans at the moment.
Well, why is that then?
Because I think
No, it's facts.
You know better than I do, Brian. Football fans have got short memories. Very, very
Yeah.
short memories. At that time, it was tough, and I think you can call me naive, you can call me stupid, you can call me a massive football fan, whatever way it is. I think Jeff Stelling's mentioned it a few times. He knows the ins and outs. There was nobody there, and it was very, very risky because you had all sorts of court cases going on at the time from previous employers,
Yeah.
liabilities that possibly would have run into hundreds of thousands of pounds. And a lot of people, without mentioning any names, I know one or two local guys were looking at it. They just ran away. They said, look, this is just too much of a mess to try to sort out, because you don't know if these court cases are successful for the people challenging. It could be hundreds of thousands of pounds. So then we don't know where we are with that. But me, being a football fan, and Jeff and Craig Hignett came around to the house. We had a chat, and it was one of those things that I thought I had to do something, and it's my way of sort of putting a little bit back in the community. And when you're successful, it's brilliant, and when you're not, it's not so nice.
A lot of debate in the modern game about the lack of black football managers or coaches in the game. Where do you stand in this? I mean, I heard John Barnes recently saying that when he was in Glasgow, I wasn't aware of it. He was a Celtic manager. I'm a Celtic fan, brought up a Celtic fan. And John Barnes says that he was talking about black managers, a lack of them, and then he says I had a better win record than Steven Gerrard. Where do you stand in this?
I think there's possibly a little bit of truth in it, but I think football has moved on so much that I remember in the mid-80s reading somewhere that by the end of the century, every football team in the Premier League is going to have 5 or 6 black players. And I just looked at it and I'm thinking, somebody's talking garbage here. And as we know, that's a fact. So I think times have moved on. I'm not totally convinced that. I think sometimes people use that as
An excuse.
as a bit of a barrier. So it's like a lot of people say to me, Indian footballers, Pakistani footballers, why they don't get a chance. Now I personally don't believe that,
Right.
because you've had Indian cricketers play for England,
Yeah.
Pakistani
Yeah.
play for an England cricket team. You've had damn good boxers, Pakistani boxers, Amir Khan and such like. So I'm not buying into that where
Right.
there's something else that's not right, or whether the grassroots football isn't coming through. There's got to be something that is rather than just saying. I had a guy had a bit of a ding dong with him.
In a nice way.
In a nice way in the Midlands. I was at a function, and he came out the same thing. He said, look, the white lad's going to get in first, the black lad's going to get in second, and then the Asian lad's going to get in third.
That's what he said.
Yeah, that's what he said. He said even now, and I said, look, I'm sorry, but I don't agree with that, because can you imagine the Asian lad, let's say, playing for Birmingham City? He'll put crowds up. They want to support. There are big communities in the Midlands and down south.
Yeah.
So you could argue, why do these clubs go for a South Korean football or whatever, because Manchester United it takes off. The guy at Tottenham Song.
Yeah, Song, yeah,
he
some
just
player.
takes off.
Yeah.
So I'm not really buying into that.
Right.
I think it's something else that where, you know, in other sports they've been successful. It's just not football at the moment. And I know at lower level, there are a few lads, but at the top end there still isn't.
See, when I played for a team called Easter Craigs, they were equivalent to Celtic Boys Club in Glasgow. And I remember playing in Shadows of Parkhead. There was a pitch there, and the manager came in, and I'm about 15 at the time, 14, 15. And the manager came in and says, "The Rangers scouts here today, but he won't be watching you, Bernie. Obviously you're Catholic, and he won't be watching you, you're Catholic." And he would run everybody. There was only 2 players that he could watch.
Yeah.
So it's a similar horrible experience, isn't it? I mean, you get tough into it, but
Of course you get tough into it, and there's some truth in it. I mean, I remember playing for Winniebanks under 18s, and I wasn't good enough to be first, because they were a good team at that time, and I was never first choice or just walking into the side. So it's always used to be who's going to miss out today, who's going to be on the subs bench, and there was this one lad, lovely guy, Robbie. And it was always used to be between me and him who was going to get in the team, and I always felt it was me who was getting left on the bench.
right.
Now, Fred, God bless him. Now he's probably not with us anymore. The coach at the time,
Right.
whether Fred had that in the back of his mind or
Right,
not,
right,
I don't know.
right.
Only Fred knows. Only Fred.
But you thought you were better than this guy anyway.
I thought I had the height. I thought, you know.
Yeah.
And I think Fred knew Robbie's dad as well. So I've always used to think, is he leaving me out because of that? And this was, as I said, going back to the early 80s.
Do you know in 84, 85, before I came to Middlesbrough, well, I walked out in the game for a year, played with Albion Rovers. I played with the only black player in Scotland back then, a lad called Vic Cashel. Wasn't aware of that at the time. Many years later that came out. He was a character like Vic Cashel,
Yeah, so I mean, you know, you hear stories. I think Alex Ferguson told the story when he went to Rangers.
He was married, yes.
He was married. These, you know, those were the way the life was.
See, I was brought up, my late father, he used to say, we watch Celtic because of the best team. They signed black, Protestant, Catholic, didn't matter what you were. You watch them because of the footballing ability, not because of anything else. Some people may not be aware, but you're forever donated to charity. You've helped my teammate, 86 legend Gary Parkinson, who suffers from Lupton syndrome. You've contributed to him over the years. You've helped the Teesside Family Foundation. You donated not so long ago $250,000 to Ukraine, and no doubt you do many other things that nobody hears of. Does that give you great pleasure and satisfaction, donating to charities?
Definitely.
Yeah,
I
makes you
think
feel good.
That's one of the most satisfying things, that you're privileged enough and you're lucky enough to do those things, to help other people. Because I think I've always said it, Benny, like, what's rich? Is rich £1 million? Is rich 10 million, 100 million? There's no limit. So I think you should always do your bit to help as much as you can, and you know, it is really satisfying when you do that.
During your stint as chairman in 2018, you've sacked 7 managers. I thought it was about 10, but it's only 7. So, would you call yourself patient?
I think you hear the stories, don't you, that you've got to be patient with a manager.
Yeah.
And I'm one of those. Yes, you've got to be patient. You've got to give the time to the manager, and we've seen a lot of examples of that over the years. When you see somebody's been, well, David Moyes this year, I think prime example. You know, they were patient with him, but I think that comes within the club. The fans can't judge that, because within the club you know if that manager's on the right tracks, if the squad's right, if the training's right, and it's only a matter of time, it's going to click into place and away you go. You can't do that until unless you know that. So I think a lot of the times, on the face of it, you look like you're getting rid of a lot of managers, but you can't just be patient either. Well, I'll give you a couple of examples of that now. So Carlisle got rid of 3 managers last year.
Right.
Joe, I was talking to their chairman, They brought in Paul Simpson, 15 matches to go, they won 6, they stayed up.
Right.
So I've got a call to make. If it's 15, 16 matches to go, can we do a Carlisle?
Yeah.
I'll give you another example. Stephen changed 3 managers last year. Brought in Steve Evans, kept them up, and they've gone up automatically this year. Carlisle have gone up through the playoffs.
Right.
So the point is, and then flip side of that, this year we were on our second manager with Keith Curl. You're trying to be patient. He was on the right track. And I could have stuck with him, but probably would have gone down anyway. But now it's the same people are saying, actually, if you brought in John Askey in earlier,
Yeah. So
you only needed to win another match, and you would have been okay.
you can't win no matter what you do.
John Askey came in. I think he went 8 games undefeated, but 5 of those unfortunately was at draws, and they weren't good enough. So it's the same people now saying, well, you should have brought him in earlier, and it's a big, tough call. But I think patient bit. It's okay saying you've got to be patient with a manager, but it's like any walk of life, any business. You've got to be comfortable that they're doing the right thing.
And you have to go with your gut as the owner.
And that's it. That's where you only find out in due course that if that manager's right or not. And at the moment now, everybody in Hartlepool, I'm sure that 85-90% of the fans would say we've got the right man in place. But only next season is going to tell us how good he is.
I've been in your company a lot of occasions. I think you're funny, you're engaging, you get a bit about you, and I like you.
Thanks, baby.
But if I worked for you, do you think I would like you?
I think it's an old sort of cliche. I'm hard but fair.
Fair enough. Well, I like that.
I've had. I think rule number 1 is if you're a soft touch, you don't get anywhere.
Oh, I totally agree with that.
Any football manager, any business manager, my care homes, for example, you've got a manager in there. You've got to be fair with your staff. You've got to manage your staff, but at the same time, staff got to know that you're not a soft touch. So I think I'm in that category. So I've had people working for me. I know you mentioned 7 managers there. Thanks for that.
I like number 7.
Hopefully it's lucky 7.
Unlucky 7 for that lot.
So I think, I've had people working for me, 5, 10, 12, 15 years. I think one manager actually worked for me nearly 20 years on and off. Those are the ones who are grafters, who are loyal to you, you're loyal to them, they're looking after you, you look after them. Yeah. That's where it works. Yeah. Others haven't even lasted 2 months, so I hope that answers your question.
No, I like the answer, hard but fair. I think that's...
And I know it's an old cliche and everybody says it, but I think you've got to be, because if you're just going around with an axe in your hand and just
chopping everything.
Chopping everything, that doesn't work.
No.
Especially these days now, it's an ever-changing world.
How have you noticed it changing in the business front, whether it's football or your care homes? How have you noticed that difference?
Well, there's things like employment law, for example. Employment law is a massive thing. Managing sickness. Now, I'm sure when we were younger, you just didn't want, it was frowned upon if you called in sick.
Yeah.
But it just seems to be the norm these days. If you've been out on the weekend, you just call in sick on Monday. So you've got to manage that, but within the regulations that have been put down by the government with the employment law. So those are the change. When we were younger, you didn't turn up a couple of times. You were sick. Third day you were in. See you later.
That's it. Bye. Yeah.
That's it. Bye. So you can't do that now.
Right.
But so you've got to manage it differently.
There is a lot of box ticking in the world, isn't there?
There is.
You must see that, right? I see that.
It's going on.
It's pathetic for me.
It's getting.
Yeah.
Worse or better depends on which side.
No, but I don't mind whoever it is, whatever the background is. If they're the best, I want to watch them. Yeah. But some of them, I know, and the people listening or watching know that they're not.
Yeah.
And I think that's poor.
It's a changing world. I think that's just where we are at the moment, and we've got to.
I'm going back to Glasgow.
We've got to deal with it.
As a person, are you superstitious, religious, or believe in the universe? I mean, there's a couple of them I believe in. Are you into any of that? As a person?
I wouldn't say I'm massively religious, but yes, I do. Our old friend Bill, we were having a conversation a couple of years ago, and he was saying there is no God, and I'm saying, well, yeah, okay, Bill.
Yeah.
But until somebody tells me what's luck, and people say he got lucky, he's got lucky. Somebody tells me what luck is, then I would think, yeah, there is a God up there. So it's well, look, you can say.
And what about the universe, the law of attraction? I believe in that. The guys like Einstein, all the philosophers. I don't know if you're aware of it.
Yeah. I take it with a pinch of salt.
Do you? Right. Pochettino, I heard him use the universe word one.
I take it with a pinch of
right.
salt. I think you're going into somewhere like, well, especially our level, or my level.
No, your level house.
very little. So again, I don't, people argue, well, look, religion is the biggest problem.
No, I don't buy into that. I'm religious and I like everybody. If I like somebody, I like them no matter what they're about. I don't. That's it. It's not about religion.
But that's us, a lot of people.
But there is a minority.
There is. You just mentioned, up in Glasgow, Catholics and Protestants. There is. It's the same. So I think I'm fairly relaxed, shall we?
Yeah.
I do believe in it. There is something there.
Yeah.
But I'm fairly relaxed.
Yeah, you're cool about it. 2023, after 2 seasons in the Football League, Hartlepool, I think we touched on it, were relegated. And you put the club up for sale sort of overnight. Why was that?
Well, it's been, as I said earlier, that when something nice and you're winning something, it's enjoyable. And this season hasn't been enjoyable at all. And it hasn't been enjoyable for the fans. So I was sat there, most of the games just a bag of nerves. We'll go 1-0 up, and you're just thinking, can we just keep it to 1-0 up? And you're getting beat 1-0. Can we just? We're looking at the clock. We need 2 goals now. 70 minutes. We're not going to. So it was a horrible time. It was a horrible time, if I'm being honest. I think it was probably Doncaster away where we won there, and then when John came in, we'd got 2 or 3 draws. They were really good results. Leyton Orient, for example, at home, we're getting beat. Top of the table, they're beating teams for fun. We're getting beat 1-0. We claw one back, 1-1. And last 10 minutes, we hit the post. We hit the bar against Leyton Orient. Now, any other season, that would have been a brilliant result. Everybody would have gone, but I think most fans and myself, we knew we needed the 3 points. So it was desperation opposed to enjoying a win or a draw. Stevenage, the same thing. Stevenage, we were getting beat 1-1. We were drawing, and we had 2 really good chances last 10 minutes. And when you're down there, it doesn't happen.
I know.
So it was a lot of frustration from my part, from the fans' part. Fans didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy it, and unfortunately, the damage was done, and I won't go over all.
No.
The damage was done in the summer, and we never recovered. And then the crunch game was Crawley at home, and they were just, I think they were just a couple of points adrift of us. And if we beat them, I think we would have had every chance of staying up. And that was a game that we had to win. And unfortunately, the team didn't turn up on the day. We had nearly 7,000 people there, and they won 2-0, and everybody knew that was it. So the fans took their frustration out on me and started singing, "You wanted me out," and that was a shock to the system.
So you felt that personally, thinking I've given,
that was a shock to my system.
Yeah.
And I know, fans are
fickle.
Fickle, but I just thought, what we touched upon earlier, that saving the club, and there's been a hell of a lot of work gone on, and 5 years, you're on the phone at 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night, sitting there, on transfer window days and stuff like that, and I just thought, why? It was a shock to my system because I thought, like I said on my other interview, that I thought I had more credit with the fans. I thought I had a bit more, you know, they would appreciate it a little bit more, as much as they were frustrated. And we were all frustrated, and it wasn't nice at all. And I think to hear those chants was very disappointing for me. And I just, over the weekend, I thought about it. I thought, well, look, enough's enough. And basically, you don't need it because
Yeah.
you know, you're putting money in, you're taking stress on, and then, you know, the people, then you're getting abuse online, and well, you don't need it.
Why do you look in line if you're getting abuse?
I don't. Well,
People tell you.
Yeah, other people.
People tell you, right.
Kids
Yeah, of course.
And other people, friends are online. Everybody's out. I'm not on Facebook or Twitter or anything, just purely for that reason, because I think you just, but you know, you hear things and other people tell you, and that is upsetting.
So were you putting up for sale what have the fans achieved then, because you're still in charge? And go on.
Yeah, I think it's this. Every football fan, and I think we've discussed this before. Every football fan thinks their football club or their team is the best in the world.
Mm-hmm.
They're the best supported. They're the best. And unfortunately, in the real world, it doesn't work like that. So I think it was a lot of the frustration, and I've said it before, that look, we've got quite a few things wrong. Biggest one being the manager, right? But then it wasn't just a case of, you know, putting on the switch or turning off the switch and putting the thing right. It doesn't work like that. So we had to, it was the consequences of those decisions. And yes, the buck stops with me, and I've said it before, but you've got other people who you listen to, you take advice from, so they've made a lot of mistakes as well, which I'm being held accountable.
Yeah, so you carry the can.
Yes, I carry the can for everyone,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
yeah.
But, you know, you can't go out publicly and mention every single
Person involved in.
every single person or every single instance, but I carry the can. So I think on the day, I don't know whether it was just people's emotions running away with them because we were being relegated. They obviously think, there's going to be a queue of people to come into Hartlepool, and that was my way of thinking, okay, let's find out. Where is this queue?
So how do you, as a novice, I've been in football but not in your position, how do you advertise a football club? You don't go through the local rise, do you? How do you do it?
I think it's word of mouth.
Okay.
So I think within a day, when that interview went out after the Crawley game,
right.
My interview went out, there was 3 or 4 emails already.
Right.
There was people texting me, and I haven't even bothered with that because it's a lot of time wasters. I think if you get one decent inquiry out of 10, I think you're doing well.
And not being derogatory to Hartlepool, I'm, as you know, played for Middlesbrough, I'm a Middlesbrough fan. Middlesbrough fans in their droves, when things don't go wrong over the years, or haven't gone wrong over the years, right away they go for Steve Gibson in your position. Steve Gibson, sell the club. And I in return say, hold on a minute, who is going to buy Middlesbrough Football Club? No, I would say to you, they're not queuing up to buy Hartlepool or Middlesbrough. That's the reality.
And that's the reality, that's a fact. And I think, I think I've told you the story before. 2 years ago, I think I was with your friend Tony Morgan, who was still the manager.
Right.
And I think first game of the season, I think they got beat off, I think it was Barnsley. So I'm in the car listening to Ali Brownlee.
God rest him,
At the time, and this guy comes on and he starts, first game of the season, by the way,
Right.
ripping into the team. He obviously knows it all. He's obviously
Yeah.
So he comes on and he said, Ali, I'm telling you now, the club needs a change from top to bottom. So he said, whatever the lad's name was, he said, well, what do you suggest? Well, the manager needs to go and it needs to be changed right at the top. So he said, so you're suggesting Steve Gibson needs to go? Yeah, we need a change. He's done his time, and I'm like, he's He's obviously had a lot to drink. He's obviously
Nonsense.
He's obviously had a drink. And Ali, God bless him, he was playing him as well.
Yeah,
He said,
yeah.
How would you do it? And it was a funny comment I read. It was a really funny comment I read. One of the kids showed me it on social media. And he says, about Hartlepool, look, who's going to come in, who's going to... And I think one of the guys put it on there. He said, unfortunately, people who got the answers, who got all the answers, and who know how to run a football club, are either cutting hair or driving taxis. He said, they're already in employment. Right? He said, so it just puts things in perspective. And you look at the sensible ones, and you can see, you know, and I've been fortunate enough now, both sides. Both sides. I've been a fan, and I remember, I'm going back to Mike McCulloch's days.
Yeah, I knew Mike McCulloch.
Fans always knew what to do. Fans always knew what was best for the club. Fans did it, and then, you know, Colin Henderson and Steve Gibson, Brian Robson's days, everything was bouncing. Yeah. But as soon as you lost or dropped, they knew better than Brian Robson. They knew better what to do. So that's that's the side of football. You just got to take with a pinch of salt.
As a public figure, how difficult is it to say what you really want and fear upsetting people? I mean, debate is well, I call it dead in Britain these days. That's unhealthy, surely.
Yeah, it is. Unfortunately, I think it's. I'm straight talking guy. Tell it how it is.
Yeah, good.
I'm not a politician. I don't, you know, sugarcoat anything.
Yeah.
So I think it's fair to say some of the stuff I've said at Hartlepool is gone against me because I've spoke my mind. And it's like, you know, you get comments like who's advised name, and when it's, for example, the Crawley the interview I've done after the Crawley match. Now I know I've got abuse. I'm just being told I've got abuse.
Yeah.
I didn't say I've got abuse. I knew I was going to get abuse.
Yeah.
Right. I knew people within the club were telling me, don't put this out. It might go against you. But I needed to get things off my chest.
I'm like you. I agree with that.
Yeah, I needed to say things that I felt. I'm thinking, right, okay, everybody's had their say over the weekend. Everybody's, you know, want me out of the club and this and that and that. Right, I need to say that, and I did. It's probably true that it hasn't, you know, won me too many supporters, but I'm sure there's a flip side of that. There's plenty of people saying, well, actually, we do agree with what he's saying. What was he supposed to do in that circumstance? What was he supposed to do at that certain time? So it does help, but yes, everything gets twisted.
Honesty is a crime these days, isn't it?
Yes. And the other thing is that you've always got people's hidden agendas. Where there's a bit of jealousy,
loads of that,
where there's somebody just peed off with their own life, you're going to get that. So you're not ever going to get a true opinion as just purely a footballing person. So there's other little bits and pieces that come into it, and that's why people who want to slate you, they'll find any single little...
but all these faceless people on the social media, that's easy when you're faceless. But they know who you are.
That's it.
Well, I live up here, some people know who I am, so if we say something, they know it's us that says it. But the faceless people...
And twisted how it suits them.
Yeah.
And yet, you know, you get very few who would actually say, well, no, this is how it should be. This is it. Because it's one of the guys that one of the fans told me, he said, unfortunately, it's the brainless ones, they've got the loudest voices. They're the one who's got the time. Yeah. You know, who can go on social media.
Yeah, too much time in their hands.
Too much time on their hands.
Yeah.
And it could be a little 12-year-old kid.
Of course it could.
It could be. And somebody's taking that on there, it's on social media, Roger's getting slaughtered and he's doing this and doing that. But overall, I think, going back to Hartlepool, people think the genuine fans know what I'm trying to do, and they know I've got the club at heart. I want to leave it in the best shape that I can.
So what's the future then for you? You're obviously still in charge of Hartlepool.
Yes.
Nobody comes in. Do you get your head down and start rolling again for next season?
I think we have to. The reason being, Well, they're back in training next week.
Oh, is it next week they're back?
Next week they're back
Okay.
in training. So the manager knows. The manager needs to know where we are. So we're just recruiting and we're getting preparing for the new season. And as I'm to keep telling people, even if somebody came in with an offer, or that's going to take 2, 3, 4 months. So you're going to be touching into Christmas. So we've got to prepare. And the flip side of that is, if the team starts off well and doing better, you're probably going to get a better buyer,
Right, yeah.
a better footballing person who'll come in. So I think we've got to carry on as normal, and then see where we get to. It's been, top of my head, I think it was about April, May, June. So you've had 2 months now, and I think I've spoke to 2 people.
Right.
Like everything else, all the sort of the inquiries being whittled down, all the inquiries, all the time wasters. Because as soon as you ask to see colour of people's money, that's when it goes quiet.
Yeah.
That's when it goes quiet. And I think we've done it sensibly this time, reasonably well. We haven't engaged with anybody where it gets out in the papers. And a lot of people just want a bit of publicity. Oh, I tried to buy the Hartlepool, and I tried to buy Port Vale, and I tried to buy this and that. You've got lots of those over the years. So I think we've done that. So at the moment, it's coming to the end of June. You've got possibly one now, and possibly maybe a second one, which I'm not hopeful is going to come to anything.
So do you stay awake at night thinking, oh, I wish this club would go, or are you just letting it happen? You're cool with it?
I think it's cool because the reason being, it's not the same position as Darlington, and I've heard all the die-hard fans. He's going to do hard. I know a Darlington fan. He did the same thing at Darlington.
Yeah.
This is totally different thing to where it was Darlington. At Darlington, I had bands breathing down my neck every day of the week, and we didn't know when the next lot of money is going to come in. This is completely different in a way. The club's stable, it's doing okay, we're okay. I don't need to get out
Overnight.
like tomorrow,
Yeah.
overnight. Because if I did, I would have done it by now already. So that's why we've got to, as you say, I'm pretty relaxed, because I think I keep saying it, Ben, that there's a lot of stuff we've done right, and unfortunately people can't see that. They can only see
The
on
table.
pitch,
They can only see the
People
table.
like yourself, you know me reasonably well.
Yeah.
Really well. But
Yeah.
you don't know, because you only see the table.
Of course
you
I
only
do.
see, how did Hartlepool get on?
Yeah.
Oh, they got smashed today. Oh, unfortunately.
Yeah,
That's
you're
it.
going to all the
And
games.
that's it. We know how the teams play.
And you went to the majority of games last year, didn't you?
Yeah.
You went everywhere.
Games and most of the.
I went to a couple of home games. There was one home game, and I was surprised at the atmosphere. In the far side, where you sit, far side in that corner, great atmosphere.
No,
I was saying that.
look, I think it's a well-known fact in football that North East fans are passionate. They are fans.
Yeah, they are. Of course they are.
They are. You've got your pockets, and these are really, really passionate fans. If they have a successful team, and away you go. So we've got that, but then I think there's a flip side to that as well. With that passion, there's just when the team's not doing so well, there's some
I mean,
not
being
so nice experience.
yeah, Middlesbrough obviously got a connection
Yes.
with Hartlepool because they gave us the ground, didn't they, back in '86?
That's always there, and I think Middlesbrough fan helped them out before I went in. I can't remember which game it was, so Middlesbrough fan went, and because Middlesbrough didn't have a match that Saturday, so Middlesbrough fans went in there 5 years ago. So yes, there is that togetherness, that closeness. We're playing them in, and I think it's the 14th of July in a friendly.
Right.
Yeah, so that'll be a good atmosphere again. So yeah.
Okay, right, signed. But Ed, just final question. Middlesbrough. I know you're Hartlepool chairman. Middlesbrough. That's your team you grew up with as a boy.
Yeah,
Are you expecting big things this season, same as last season, or?
I think Middlesbrough. Well, as you know, I don't go to.
No, but you kind of do
matches.
too.
I went to 3
Yeah.
or 4 matches this year. I think yes, I think the club's going the right way, if you like. I think they've got the manager there who's probably done as well as anybody could have in
Yeah.
a short space
Yeah.
of time. I think we had a chat. I personally felt Middlesbrough were the best team in there in the playoffs, and I thought they would do it. I went to the Coventry game. Unfortunately, it wasn't to be on the night. But I think Michael's doing really well, and I think it's stable character. The club's stable. They'll bring players in, and with a bit of luck, they might even go. Dare I say it? Might even get an automatic. Yeah. But,
You told me you're a straight talker.
yeah, straight talk. But that's football. Then you start dreaming, don't you? Then you start dreaming.
This is definitely last week, but we say we're going to do now. But a football club that brings in loans and free transfers, right, in Middlesbrough, and I understand that. If you've not got the money, you have to go somewhere to get players in. But I class it as building foundations on sand, because every year they go. We've lost half the team overnight, and now we have to replace them.
Yeah.
That must be difficult.
Yeah, it is difficult, and I think it's like when the loan signing comes in, does well. Sometimes he's not good enough for his parent club,
Yeah,
and then you get that loan signing to permanent. There's people who've done that.
yeah.
Flip side of that, if he's really good,
Other clubs are watching.
like Archer, for
Yeah,
example.
Archer, Ramsey.
Ramsey. So those guys do well. Yeah.
They've all done well.
They've
Giles.
done well. So, it's a difficult
It's a difficult one.
I think one hand, you would have to give credit to Middlesbrough and the coaching staff that they got that much out of them.
Brilliant.
They've done
Brilliant.
They went on that run,
Yeah.
unbelievable run.
Yeah, they did.
So that's the plus side. Downside is, as you say, that you're going to lose them, and then you more or less got to start again. Luton, for example.
Can't believe Luton went through. I wouldn't have picked Luton to.
I wouldn't have. As we all know, their budget's limited, and I think they're really going to struggle. But then it's that big one, okay, one season.
At your level, have you got a director? Is it director of football? Have you got
Dan Kelly,
that deals with players coming and going?
He's only been there 3-4 months.
Right. Okay.
That was one of the things where I think we needed to upgrade, if you like.
Right.
So he's in there. He's looking at players, and we've only signed a couple of players so far, but one's obviously from Bolton, League One keeper. A young lad called Kieran Burton from Scarborough, but he's people expecting big things from him. So that's hopefully.
So that's a big role then.
And that's a massive role, because I think that's where we got it badly wrong last summer, and hopefully this will rectify that.
We've got a player, Piero. You might want him. He's on Argentina. He's still a player. Costs £5 million. Doesn't get a game for us. Do you fancy him?
Yeah.
Rise, thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much. Enjoyed your chat, and no doubt we'll see you during the season. Cheers. Thank you very much.